Alright, so you've clicked on this video because you've been thinking about how social media is negatively impacting you and your life. You started to realize that these apps are just a distraction. They stop you from pursuing good things and they even negatively impact your relationships. In this video, I'm going to be speaking about how social media is killing your relationships and specifically how it destroyed mine. I think that social media is a big thing in most people's lives. And in my opinion, I just don't think that is really good for most people. Like, I just really don't. Like, I really hate social media and the fact that it just takes more than it gives. It takes more than it gives and it stops you from just feeling happy in some sense. Like, you're always comparing yourself to someone else and you're always just constantly worrying about what certain people might say to you and how easy it is for someone to say something. So with me, in my relationship, I got broken up with by a girl that I was with for about 3 months. We were together for 3 months. And I remember after we broke up, I thought things were okay. Until I found out one specific detail that changed absolutely everything. And this one detail, it's pretty disgusting. And I do think that this is a problem that happens so much. And it's cheating and infidelity in relationships. I was with this girl for 3 months, and after we broke up, I found out she cheated. I remember, like, when I found that out, for a second I just didn't know what to do. Like, I was in a state of confusion, and in specific, I kind of just felt like, how did this happen? How did this happen? How have I allowed this to happen? What's gone wrong? In the time preceding to break up, I just had anxiety that the girl I was with was cheating and she was out with another guy. This is like something that a lot of people need to understand, is that in relationships, your partner, the person you're with, is always going to be having access to other people, and they're always going to be readily available to just meet other people and message them. The relationship I had with this girl was disgusting because of social media. It was disgusting because of social media because, first and foremost, social media never actually allowed me to feel satisfied in my relationship. There was always some form of avenue where I was being blindsided by people, like me seeing other people's relationships, right? Like, how many times have you seen this when you're in a relationship or you're not in a relationship? See like reels or like videos of people in relationships and they just seem to be so happy. It's like, for me, I just saw that and it was just like, it was very hard for me to compare what my actual relationship was to what I was seeing. And I just kind of felt worse about it. And it was like I was also seeing other girls like pop up and stuff, and sometimes I'd get feelings and thoughts that, oh, she's really attractive. And then I remember, like, I paused for a moment, and I was like, the girl I'm with, what is she thinking? If she's having the same stuff pop up, there's this new guy, there's this other guy, there's a guy from this school, she's probably thinking the same thing, right? And these feelings and thoughts like become more prevalent when you're in a relationship, because there's kind of like a hidden rule that you shouldn't be talking to other people outside your relationship, and you should basically commit to one. And I think that girls challenge that and they just add other guys and stuff. Like, when I got cheated on, it was pretty disgusting. I just hated that. And the guy that, I don't really know the guy that she cheated on me with, but I was just thinking, like, if social media didn't exist, would this scenario have happened? No, it wouldn't, because people aren't readily available and you're not really seeing other people. Like, you have to physically meet up and talk and get to know each other. Social media makes things so much easier to just cheat because you just need to message people and hide the message and that's it. The bottom line is that social media it killed my relationship, and I don't want it to kill yours. I just don't want you to go through what I've gone through, where I was constantly thinking about the girl that I was with was cheating. Eventually she did, but I just don't want you to go through that. So in specific, you're probably thinking, okay, Raihan, you've kind of yapped on about your relationship. What can I actually do? Like, what can I actually do in this situation that would actually benefit me and help me and move me in a better direction in my life? Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you exactly what you should do and the advice I'm actually going to give you. Number one is to just detach more from mainstream social media apps. Like, I know it sounds difficult, and I'm probably going to speak about this in future videos as to how you can do that, because it's something I did and it's something I've coached other people to do. And number one is to just reduce your mainstream social media usage by like a significant amount. Like, most people just genuinely don't really have a purpose when it comes to using social media. Like, you scroll and you message people on the apps. It's like the connections aren't even meaningful. What I'd suggest you do is that anyone you like talking to, move them over from Snapchat to iMessages or Instagram to Instagram DMs to messages. What that does is it just kind of gives you a level-headed amount of respect, because you're like, okay, I can actually message this person one-to-one. There's no streak, there's no other interference, it's just you and the other person communicating. With me, I've kind of always valued that, where whenever you're talking to someone, it's always just one-to-one. It's never like you're seeing like a streak, you're seeing the disappearing message, you're not seeing any of that. All you're seeing is just a connection you have with someone. So I'd highly suggest and I'd highly recommend that. Move over from Snapchat, for example, to iMessages. I guarantee you the connections you face will be way more meaningful, and it will be a step to just making better relationships. And number two is to just meet people more. Like it sounds crazy, and it might sound crazy, but just meet people more, go out with people, speak to people physically, because now we've become a generation where everyone's on their phones, right? Everyone's on their phones and you can just message someone. We're starting to replace real life conversations and real life interactions with superficial forms of like messages. Like, I don't know about you, but I actually prefer to see people in person and to have genuine real life conversations where I see the other person smile and I see all these emotions and I feel happy about myself and there's real like dopamine and oxytocin flowing. I would much rather prefer a real life conversation than a message, because yeah, you get the message sent to the other person, right? Like you get the communication that you need, but there's just something missing. And for me, I think that the way that I've solved most of these problems through social media and how they've killed relationships is that you just need to be in person with people more. Like, I know this is a side note and it links back to my relationship, but the girl that I was with, whenever we were together in person, everything was amazing. I would just argue to say that obviously certain things didn't go well, and social media was a big impact on what ended up happening and the breakup. So I think that being with people in person by far is the biggest way you can improve your relationships with other people, and not only improve your relationships with other people, but just feel a higher level of respect for yourself and happiness, because you know what you have is real. And number three is a realization that you need to have. And this is the final tip I'm going to give, because I think it's by far the most important thing. And I think it links to the last two steps that I've said. But you just need to have more respect with letting people who are bad for you and letting people who just genuinely aren't your friends, just leave them alone. Like, let them go. Like, stop talking to them, stop interacting, stop communicating. If you say something like, oh, I don't really like messaging on Snap, do you message on iMessage? If they're the type of people who say, oh, you're weird for that, why would I want to message on there? They're not your real friends, because they like you for your external validation through the streak number. They like you for the dopamine you're giving them. They don't actually want the valuable connection. And if you ever ask to meet and they're just like, no, it's just like, why would you want that? You know, like, you should always strive for having people that you actually want to speak to. And obviously, like I said before, you want to have better, and you want to mostly have, like, I would say about a soft minimum of 70% of your conversations and 70% of your interactions in real life. Obviously, if you have friends who live far away and you have friends that you actually value and they live far, then communicating over the phone and using iMessages or using calls, they're okay, FaceTimes, these things are okay. But in specific, I would argue to say that most of the conversations I've had and the most benefit I've had is when it's always been in person. So I'd always suggest that. And just cut your social circle down a bit. Like, obviously have a level of respect for yourself, improve yourself, develop yourself. Start to surround yourself with people that you actually care about, and be close to the people you care about. That's basically it. Right, I really hope this video has helped you, and I really hope you've taken on board what I've said. If you've liked this video and you really found it helpful, make sure you give it a like to show your support, and even subscribe, because it really helps my channel out. One last thing I'll say before I leave is that always strive for excellence, because great things will come your way.